Okay, Blair, it's so good to see you.
So
Thank you
great
for
to see
joining us.
you. Yeah, I'm so happy to be on here. Thank you.
Yes, and we are so honored to have you as a member of our board and part of our community, but also for me personally, just to reconnect with you after this many years. And you have, between last time we saw each other and now, you have had a whole lot of life. And I'd love to dive into it because you've learned a lot, you've shared a lot, and I feel like you have a lot to give to people. So let's kind of just start there. I mean, I knew you as just an incredible sales leader, both in personal sales and also just huge, huge leadership teams. Anyone who's been on Blair's team, I'm sure knows what I'm saying. It's just, it's, you were so incredible. I remember there were times where you would tell me the craziest stories that I mean, you essentially you could sell ice to Eskimos. Like it did not matter where you were put, what the environment was, you were able to achieve that success. But in recent, and we met at selling beautiful accessories, but in recent years, your work has seemed to kind of move towards something that's more deeply connected to you personally. So take us back a little bit and sort of tell us that story and how you got to be doing the work that you're doing today.
Yeah, absolutely. So, first of all, thanks so much for having me. It's so nice to reconnect. And thank you for the kind words. It's so funny. It's really, I do believe I can sell ice to Eskimos when it's something I'm like truly passionate about because kind of always been that girl. I look back now with two boys in college. I realized, as they went through fraternity stuff, how much my sorority life helped me because that was probably the time where I realized like I could probably persuade anybody to do anything that I really loved, right? So that kind of brought me back to that time. But for me, I did jewelry with Anita accessories. They were absolutely beautiful. I loved them. It was a really special time in my life. And as I started to age, I started to notice that my health started to change. And I was introduced to a vitamin supplement that really helped me. And then I started using that. And then during COVID, I actually was diagnosed with ovarian cancer that I really found myself. And I always love to share that part because as a woman, I think it's very important that we advocate for ourselves. It's not something very natural for most of us. And I had to push for about 3 months of being told that's probably perimenopause. That's very normal, kind of being pushed off over and over again until finally I put my foot down and was like, no, there's something really wrong. And we found my cancer. And then I was thrown immediately into multiple surgeries, chemotherapy, and that's when I really decided to take my health into my own hands after going through that experience and feeling very much like I had been dismissed and then thrown into something so fast that I don't even feel like I really thought it through. Now, I still would have made the same decision, but I don't think I had time to even process or think about it. So all of a sudden, here I was during COVID going through chemotherapy where I was really sequestered at home because they didn't want you to go out and unfortunately get COVID and then you could possibly die because your immune system's weakened. So I had to really learn. I had to learn about what vitamins and herbs to take. I started working with a functional doctor and doing different modalities on top of the chemotherapy, even went plant-based during that time because I had an estrogen-driven cancer. And after that round of chemo where I was very sick and then started using these new things, the second round, I actually felt great. The only thing I could complain about is that I was bald and tired, and that was it. And so that really made me feel powerful. Like, okay, I can really learn and take care of myself and learn the things that are best for me. And also, I had ovarian cancer, which has a very high chance of coming back. So I wanted to empower myself to have the tools to keep it away and also to educate my family on what they could do to biohack their systems to hopefully never get cancer and keep their system healthy. So I started down this whole rabbit hole of functional medicine, integrative health, holistic care. And I know you're very familiar with it too, with your husband. And it was empowering and so informing. And I decided to start taking what I learned because I don't believe we go through anything that is not for our greater good. And so I always say, nothing ever happens to me, it always happens for me. And so I was going to use this to help other women. And I've definitely helped some men too, but I have a passion for women. And so I started just sharing like every day on my social media. I would just share the things that I was learning in the books and online. And that really took me down a very long journey of now really over the last 5 years, really educating and promoting the things that I know work for me and for my body.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. And we definitely connected on that. But truly, and you've done such a good job just sharing things. Like I love it when you say things I would never have in my kitchen again, and we'll probably get to that in a minute, but you learn. And I'm glad that you felt it was empowering because sometimes it can feel overwhelming. And like kind of along those lines, I mean, in a perfect world, like as far as nutrition is concerned, since that's sort of the brighter days world, but we would buy everything local, we would buy everything organic, we would make every meal of the week from scratch. We would lift weights and sleep 8 hours and all of this. But you're working, you've got two kids in college, which I know they're boys, and so they're definitely lower maintenance than my girl, my one girl in college and my one girl here. But still, I mean, I'm sure they're calling mom every day with something. You have aging parents. So, I mean, it's a lot to try to do all the things that you're supposed to do when you have a normal real life. So when on those days where you can't do it all, what are the things that you prioritize for your health?
So I think the
And
most important, yeah, it's actually not what people probably think. I mean, it is movement, but it doesn't always mean lifting weights. It means like getting out for a walk or even just standing in the grass and having that grounding time. Things that are non-negotiable, no matter how crazy my day is, are breath breaks. It's really taking care of my nervous system because that was one thing I learned through my cancer journey was I am a very fast-paced individual, as are you. I'm a high achiever. And I'm also a mom and a wife on top of that, and a daughter who has aging parents, like you said. So I want to do all the things. And I need to slow my system down sometimes and just allow myself to feel, allow myself to move the energy through myself. So those are non-negotiables for me. And my supplements, my herbs, my peptides, those are non-negotiable things for me. So if I can get those things done in a day, I feel really good in my water intake, right? I'm like, okay, good job, you did it. And then my goal is to get exercise every day, whether that is, through a walk or through lifting weights. But if it doesn't happen, I'm not beating myself up. And that was, I think, the way that I used to be was like this cortisol spike that I would constantly do to myself of, oh, I didn't eat exactly what I should have today. I didn't do everything I said I was going to do. And instead, I think I'm much more gracious with myself. And by doing that, I actually find that I have more time than I used to because I feel like I'm more calm about things. So I can get things done
yeah.
at a better rate.
Yeah, yeah, I find that too. And I think when I went through it, I mean, I was like supporting someone going through cancer, but I sort of had corporate burnout plus that. And I definitely found that taking care of your mind a little bit and giving yourself a little bit of space, it was something I didn't totally realize. And actually I started going to yoga, which was hard to get to, but when I got there, just the breathing and all of that, I was like, what? I mean, it was life changing. I was always miserable going there because I had so much to do. I was like, I do not have time for this. And then afterwards, I was like a different person. So I agree. I agree with that. So, okay, so we're going to shift gears, and I'm just curious because I'm making a huge assumption. I know you are huge in peptides these days, and you are a great advisor to a lot of people in sharing products that you love. And so I'm assuming that most of your clients are GLP-1 folks. Is that true, or do you have people doing other types of peptides?
So I would say the first couple years that I got started in this space, yes, that is definitely the majority. Now people are branching out. They're learning about the healing and regenerative power. So I would say now it's like 70-30. 70% definitely are on the GLP-1s and they're using it not just for weight loss. They're using it for a lot of different health reasons because more and more research is coming out and they're learning. But then 30% of my clients are utilizing other ones. And again, because of research they're reading and things that they're seeing. It's becoming very mainstream.
Yeah, really cool. So I'm curious about this. So we'll talk about GLP-1 since it is 70%. And I know, I mean, if you're a woman in our age, you definitely know someone who's on it and probably a lot of people who are thinking about it, but like a little worried. And so one of the common topics I think with GLP-1 is, food stops being interesting. So I have a friend who was like the best, chef, and she was such an entertainer. And honestly, she stopped entertaining because it was just sort of like she just doesn't care about food anymore. And Kelly, who does a lot of the research for Brighter Days, is like, just because your calorie intake goes down, it doesn't mean that your body doesn't need the nutrition. Like it means that every bite needs to be kind of more nutrient dense. So, When someone can only eat a small amount, like what do you advise? Like what deserves priority from a nutrition standpoint?
Well, I just want to say one thing before I even share that, which is if you have no desire for food at all, you're on too high of an amount. That is not the goal of the product. Okay. The goal of the product is to help your insulin levels, is to help you reduce inflammation in your body, and to help you make wiser and healthier decisions because you're not craving the things that you shouldn't be eating. Right. So if you're at a point where like you have no desire for food and you're having to force yourself to eat, you're at too high of an amount. And that is the part that
Advice.
scares me, right? That's the part that unfortunately you heard all these people going and having negative responses in the beginning when it came out from the big pharma companies, because unfortunately people were being put on these high amounts. So that's first. But I agree, you need nutrient dense first. And I actually feel like this was one of the best things that I learned when I started on it is protein first.
Yeah.
So making sure that you get your protein for the day, especially as women who are over 40, like protein is really, I know it's like we're being bombarded right now with protein, but it is really important because we're looking at our bone health, and that's really important as we age. And so if you don't have the protein, then your bones will get brittle, whether you're on a GLP-1 or not. So I think it's super important that you're making sure you get protein as soon as you wake up in the morning. I think that's so important to keep your insulin levels from spiking and your cortisol levels from spiking. And then one of the tricks I really love to teach my clients is half a plate of vegetables. Like talk about all the nutrition that you get from that, especially perimenopause and menopausal women, because there's all kinds of studies on the, cruciferous vegetables helping us with keeping our, inflammation levels lower, helping with hot flashes. Also increases your fiber if you can add a half a plate of vegetables, and it helps fill you up with nutrition. So eating
Yeah.
the protein and then eating the vegetables. And then if you have a little bit of carbs on your plate, there's nothing wrong with carbs. Carbs are okay when we eat them in the right amount. So for me, that's what I always do. Like I do a lot of stir fry because I love vegetables. And so
Yeah.
I try to make sure that I'm eating like the protein part of that stir fry first and then getting to the vegetables and then adding in, my rice or my noodles or whatever else. So I think
Yeah.
that's really important.
Yeah. No, I think that's great. And so, where do you cut corners when you don't have time to cut all those vegetables or eat all that? Like, what do you do to, and because one of the things that our scientists, Manisha and Kelly, their research, and what they say is that you really should eat, like we want you to eat your probiotics through food and we want you to eat your protein through food, not necessarily take a protein supplement, as an example. Where do you land on that?
Yeah, I totally value that and I agree. I do find that my biggest cut corner is when I first wake up in the morning because I like to be highly effective the first 2 hours of my day. And if I have to make myself something, then it's harder. So I think there's two like camps that I live in. One is I do really believe in meal prepping. And I never used to be this way until I got cancer. But it's just so much easier on my brain. It cooks
Yeah.
Sundays and I cook Thursdays. And that's it. My life is so much easier now. Like I actually enjoy it. And so I can have like those little egg cups, right? Like Starbucks makes. You can make them yourself and they're so healthy. And thank goodness we have a lot of really great places like Sprouts and really healthy places that already have chopped up vegetables. So, and I know, all kinds of stuff's been going on about that right now. But if you feel comfortable and you can eat those, then like that makes it easier for me. I can throw some easy vegetables in with egg bites and then I can grab that on the go. And then there's some days where I love a protein shake. And I agree
Too.
with what you say. I don't think that we should be using protein bars, protein shakes as meal replacements all the time. But I will do that probably every other morning. That is how I eat my breakfast because I put so much into it. So I'll just very easily grab a handful of kale, throw it in my smoothie with it. I have a friend who even puts broccoli and she swears it doesn't change the taste at all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
adding a little bit of vegetables into that also, and I try to change it up. Like my goal is always to eat the rainbow throughout the week. And so if you can really change up the different colors of your vegetables as well, you're going to get more prebiotics and probiotics because it's different things to your microbiomes, which is really important. So I think cutting corners for me is more like I'm going to do this on Sunday and I'm going to do this on Thursday and I'm going to stick to these foods. And again, GLP-1 does help me with that because I don't really ever get sick of anything. I don't get bored with food anymore like I used to and try to crave outside of that. But I also use the protein shake as also like just a little, it's almost like a treat to me. Instead of
Yeah.
it like I got to get in this protein, I'm trying to throw in things on top of the protein shake that I know
Yeah.
will help.
Yeah. And a lot of I love it too because it can fill you up. And I'm someone like you. I mean, I don't know that everyone watching this is like you and me, but I'm like, I gotta go. Like, I don't have time to sit down and eat this whole meal. So it's so nice to know that like one drink can have so many things. And for those that take BRYTR days, they throw it in there and it's just one more thing that, okay, whatever happens today, if my day goes sideways and somehow I'm out and we're eating pizza and or all carbs and like the vegetables are not non-existent for the rest of my day, at least I know I got them all in
Yeah.
the morning or as much as I could.
And and I think that's really important. And by the way, I mean, that is one of the reasons y'all's product is so great because it has such good nutrient rich stuff in it. And I think that's really important. You can't expect your body to get everything from the food that we eat, unfortunately, anymore, even if you're eating organic. I have a friend who's like, well, I buy everything from a local farm. I'm like, that's great. But our soil is not the way it's supposed to be anymore. So you
Yeah.
have to add these different things in to get what your body needs. And I also really believe in the 80-20. Like I eat 80% plant-based and really good, and 20% I eat what I want. And I do eat pizza on the weekends. Like we know every Friday night we're going to probably have pizza or some kind of carb, and we're going to have some kind of, dessert. And like I look forward to that and I still enjoy that. So I think there needs to be a balance as well. And I think also shortcuts can be as easy as creating a couple meals that you know are easy for you to make and you have those things in your fridge. Like I love a good Greek yogurt parfait. But like I know how
Yeah.
to master it, right? I've got my hemp seeds, I've got my chia seeds or basil seeds, I've got my strawberries already cut up for the week and blueberries so that all we have to do is grab it and throw it in. So I think that those kind of things can make your life so much easier if they're prepped. It doesn't mean you have to completely meal prep if you're a kind of person who doesn't want to do that, but just prep your fridge.
Yeah, I agree. I've never heard of basil seeds before. Do they taste
They
like
actually
basil?
have a higher amount of protein than chia seeds.
Oh,
And for a lot of
why?
people, they don't expand as much. They don't hurt their stomach as much. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's nice.
they're amazing. You can get them organic at like Sprouts or Whole Foods or even on Amazon.
Oh, wow. Oh, just learned
Yeah,
something. Very
yeah,
cool.
I know.
Okay, so another big topic, and I don't know I mean it's menopause, if it's GLP-1s or whatever, is hair loss. And that's a huge thing. So are you hearing this from your clients and what is going on there? Help us
Yeah.
understand and what can we do?
It's a double doozy because I have clients who are not on GLP-1 who are losing their hair.
Yeah.
And I do believe it's the drop of estrogen that happens to us during menopause. That's really important. And then yes, GLP-1 can if you're losing weight too fast. So again, the amount that you're taking is important and that you're working with somebody who knows what they're doing because if you lose weight too fast, even if it's on keto or South Beach or anything else, you're going to have hair loss. So you want to make sure that you're taking care of your body and that you're putting the right nutrients in. It's why supplements like what you guys have are important. Adding an extra collagen can always help as well. And taking good care of your hair and making sure you're getting enough calories, right? We cannot be in starvation mode. That's not going to
Yeah.
help. But I also tell a lot of my clients, like, go get your hormones checked because a lot of times people will want to blame it on something and then they get their hormones checked and they realize that they have no estrogen in their body or very little estrogen in their body. Also, checking your ferrin levels, like that's really important too. A lot of people aren't getting enough protein. I have a niece who's 19 years old and she was having hair loss, and it was because she's in dance and wasn't getting enough protein because she was going straight from school every day to dance for 5 or 6 hours and just eating these bars and different things, right? Instead of having nutritious protein and making sure she got at least 80 to 100 grams a day. So those
Yeah.
things all play in. And I think if we think about our how we are at menopause age, we're busy. Like we're in this
Yeah.
season of life. We think it's going to be easier because some of us have kids going to college, but it's actually more stressful and we have more things. And we're at this stage in our business or our career where we're, moving faster. And then we might have aging parents on top of that we're
Right.
helping to take care of. So, and lots of responsibilities. So I think those things play into the stress levels of our life. And so
Yeah.
it's easy to blame it on something, but it's a lot of things. So,
Yeah, I agree. And I also, because my Instagram listens to me, like I'm constantly being sent all these hair loss, cosmetic problems. And having worked in the cosmetic industry, it's interesting, like that the lesson is a little bit, don't underestimate the power of nutrition, and yes, hormones is one thing that's very important too. But like you said, I mean, sometimes it is protein and it is just making sure your body has all the nutrients it needs. Sometimes you can just kind of go there before you try something topical, like fix the insides, and
that's
the outsides will work out.
Yeah, and I think women too, finding a really good clean collagen is really important for us because it helps with a lot of other things besides just our hair. But it is one that we deplete from very early and very young. And so
Yes.
it will help with a lot of different things. And hair care. Like that's something I've had to learn this last year is my hair has completely changed this last year, which is very interesting for no
Yeah.
apparent reason. My hairdresser was like telling me the difference in my hair. And so because of that, I had to learn different ways to take care of my hair. So like I'm wearing one of those silk bonnets at night when I go to bed, which I think is hilarious, but it works. It's keeping my hair from creating knots, which then create hair loss. So
Right.
sometimes it can just be little simple things too.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. That's so funny. Okay, so before we wrap up, I'm gonna do one closing and then we'll do some rapid fire questions if you have time. So, what are you like most passionate about and how can people learn more?
Ooh, gosh, that's a great question. So I'm most passionate about women understanding their bodies. And I would say right now, I'm most passionate also about peptides because I'm learning more and more every single month about the research that's coming out and unfortunately why it's hidden from most of us. And so I'm not one of those like conspiracy people out there, but I can follow where the money trail is, right? And so like I know what you and your husband are doing right now. It's hard to get out into this space because there are so many things on the market that have fillers and bad things in it for you. So it's really important where you get your guidance and that you research and learn for yourself. So learning about biohacking and longevity is super important right now for women.
Yeah, and so people can connect with you on Instagram and see or Facebook and see
Yeah.
your content and learn more.
Yeah, and actually, when you were saying earlier about like my things that I'm swapping in my kitchen, I have a whole 27 things that I love that excuse me, that are controversial things that I no longer do since cancer. So you can get that list. It's not just peptides, it's like all the things that I've changed in my life.
Yeah.
And it's some of them are just so simple and so easy that if you can just start swapping maybe one thing a month, just to make it
Yeah.
so difficult.
Yeah, and with Amazon and everything, I mean, it's so easy. And some of the stuff I started just doing naturally, and I was like, this isn't like more expensive. It's just like going from a plastic cutting board to a wood cutting board. Like you kind of don't like even I like years after like a year or two after Kelly had cancer, it didn't even occur to me until it occurred to me, and I was like, oh, like what a silly thing that I was doing. And okay, so because we're brighter days, we ask this, but what is making your days feel a little brighter?
Ooh, I love that gratitude. It always makes me feel brighter.
Aw.
Yeah.
Yay. Okay, now do you have time for me to ask you a couple things? So,
Yeah.
one thing you will always keep in your kitchen,
Ooh, one thing I'll always keep in my kitchen, a
like you
water
could say food.
purifier. I mean, it's a water purifier. That is
And
like
what's your favorite water purifier?
I don't even know what the company is that we use. But if you wanted one for we have a whole system now in our house. I gifted myself last year for my birthday. But before I had that, I had Sans, Sans, and it was just like on the kitchen counter. And I love that one. It was incredible. I actually gifted it to somebody else who had cancer once we got a full system.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's one healthy product that you will not buy anymore?
One healthy product that I won't buy anymore. Ooh, so good. I would probably say it is, this is going to be a hard one because I do still use them sometimes, but stainless steel water, like cups, like not going to
Stainless
just straight glass. I think a lot of us go from plastic to the stainless steel ones, right? Because we're like, okay, we're doing better. I know I got one right here too, if I'm being honest. But I really try hard when I'm at home to drink out of glass because
Yeah.
that we're also still putting heavy metals in ourselves when we're drinking out of those.
I know. I
Yeah.
just saw something about that and so my husband and I were researching it because they do talk about, these brands talk about how it's not, but at the end of the day it is a heavy metal.
I know.
Ugh. Okay, what's your favorite shortcut meal? You kind of
Oh,
gave us a
yeah.
couple, but like
Yep.
dinner meal.
Yep. I'll give you another one. If you're a meat eater, I think this was my new favorite and I'm obsessed with it. It's literally just ground beef, sweet potatoes, a little bit of cottage cheese, and then whatever, like I like sliced cucumbers in mine, and then you put hot honey on it. Super easy meal,
Wow.
and it is so delicious. You can't stop eating it. So good. Tons of protein in that too.
Awesome. Okay, awesome. Well, I'm looking at my other questions and I feel like you answered them, but my last question for you will be what is one thing that you know now that you wish your younger self had known?
I think there's two things. One is take time for yourself. It's not selfish, right? We always say, like, put the oxygen mask on yourself before you put it on somebody else. But it's really difficult when you're a mom, when you're working a business, when you're a daughter, when you're a wife, right? To do those things. And it is so important. So, like, taking the time to go to yoga, taking the time to write your gratitudes, taking the time throughout the day to have a breath break. The second thing is that actually, I'm going to throw in this with it. And I love doing just quick little things. So, another little tip I'll give you guys, because this has been like huge for my clients the last 6 months, is every time you go to the bathroom, do 10 squats. Because what we do now is going to allow us to be healthy later. Like, I have an elderly mom right now who is she's going through muscle atrophy, and like I'm watching her barely be able to walk, right? So do 10 squats every day over the toilet every time you go to the bathroom. If you go to the bathroom 6 times a day, that's 60 squats. And
Yeah,
then
that's a great
10,
tip.
right? And then do 10 calf raises every time you're in the bathroom as well, because that helps with heart health and blood pumping. So those are good too.
Squat, before you tell me your next one, squats also help with cognitive decline. It's weird, but it
It makes sense because
supports
you're thinking.
you're thinking, but the femoral artery. So having strong legs is actually one of the most important things with that's correlated to cognitive decline. So it's like who would ever think that? But having lower muscle strength is really good, and you don't have to do it like you don't have to be like lifting like doing huge squats with weights. Like just doing squats is like 60 squats a day. I mean, I can't even imagine what a goal. Like, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's possible.
And it just helps you feel more powerful too, which I think is so important for us. And oh my gosh, sorry, what was the question?
Okay, so one thing that you wish your younger self knew that
Mhm.
you know today, and you said the first thing was what you just said, and then did you have a second one or did you forget it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the second one goes along with what I just said about the squats, which is what you do today is going to affect your future self. So, giving yourself that time to exercise every day, it's a non-negotiable. Like, there were so many times I brushed it to the side in my 30s, and looking back, I can see, how detrimental that was to my body, because working out and getting the blood pumping through your body, the oxygen pumping through your body, all of that helps with so much more than just the muscles, right? It's like what you just said, it helps with brain health, it helps with your hormones, it helps with your insulin, and so also helps with your future self, right? So it's so important. I wish I had understood that, and it wasn't just about the way that I looked, it was about
Yeah.
my health.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's probably, I think the thing, it's so true. And it is like what you're doing on the inside, really, because like in our 20s and 30s, it was all about the outside, you
Mhm.
know,
Yeah.
and we just sort of took the insides for granted. So that's a great one. All right, Blair, thank you for taking the time to chat with us. This was so helpful and so insightful. And I have to say, you look gorgeous today. I mean, you've always been beautiful, but you definitely look when we look at our pictures from like when we were together 15 years ago, I mean, we looked like babies, but I do feel like we look, and you especially look a lot healthier, in a lot of ways today. So
Totally agree. Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm so happy what you and Kelly are doing. I know this product's helping a lot of people, and I love anything that's a one stop that helps people to be healthier is such a blessing.
awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Well, we'll catch up with you soon.